sobra. Ah. Cari, ¿le quitas la voz un poco? Sí. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we come back and we can restart with our classes. So when you want, Tamer, are we going to record? I'm going to put my to a screen to share my screen.
Yes, it's coming. Yes, now you share a screen. But again, the sound is I can't hear you.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Let's start again.
Okay.
I think it's working now.
Yes.
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 Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to put my camera. That's correct. Perfect.
Yep. Great.
So, good morning, everybody. So we retake the classes of after our break. And today, well, now, after this fantastic explanation about the matrix, action matrix, how to deal our time in terms of importance and in terms of urgent. And now we studied the importance and urgency, and also about the action priority matrix by talking about the impact and effort. We will continue to our procrastinations. Remember, procrastinators is not involving to being lazy. It's related to postpone things, to put off things, and in other area. So we studied that it's important to know where you are. If you are a person that tend to go to distractions, more to interruptions, rather than important goals or critical activities. It's not the point to know you about if you are a person or like this or on the other side. It's not about you. It's more, I would say that it's more about you. So try to understand if you tend to procrastinate or you not tend to procrastinate. So that's the important idea. And in order to do that, today, right now, we will focus on a test. Okay, so this test, as you can see my screen on my screen, is about to procrastination. So I give you time now, perhaps 2 minutes or 3 minutes for all of you to make to study this test. Study, look at my 10 points. So it's not try not to be afraid about it. I'm going to assess you. I'm going to make a mark. Oh my God, that's I'm afraid of it. It's not the point. The point is it's about procrastination. This is a test. So my recommendation first is reading the 10 statements, okay, 10 sentences, and you need to regularly. And then, well, according to the test, we will focus on this scale. That is a scale involves 4 is all the time, 3 is frequently, 2 once in a while, and almost never or never. Okay. Almost never, perhaps 1 time, 2 times. Well, depends on the times. I wanted to make quantitative, so because they are qualitative. So all the time, frequently, once in a while, almost never. So depends. I think the criteria is very clear. Perhaps 4 is about more In 5 out of 5 will be, well, 4, 3, 1. This is our word scale, or basically perhaps 4 involves in 10, beta in 10 after 10 could be 8 to 10. Perhaps 3 is 6 to 8. 1 it would be 4 to 6, or more or less, and 1 it could be 1 to 4, or approximately 1 to 2, depends on, okay. Perfect, fantastic. So let's start. Let's start by telling our test. This is our test here, as you can see. So we'll start by explaining. I give you time, 2 minutes, and then first give you 2 minutes or 3 minutes more or less to read the questions. 3 minutes, I think it's enough. 3 or 4 minutes. You won't need some more time. So then I will explain it. So I give you time to first read very well. You wanted to take take a piece of paper and put the numbers. So it's up to you. So 3 minutes or 4 minutes for reading it. And then I will retake the classes. I put the screen here, and then we will restart by explaining the different questions, okay?
The score is from 1 to 10 or?
Well, it's 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
We will continue here by this test.
Yeah.
One was almost never. Once it's an hour while.
Yeah, and 4 is also time.
And 4 is the maximum all the time.
Yep.
This is our scale for today. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I said that the equivalent to 10, but I prefer to stick to this.
Yeah, to small number, yes.
Okay, then I'm going to show you the screen as well. In 2 minutes or 3 minutes, we will start with the exercise.
Done.
Perfect. So, so if you done it,
For my
so
side, yes. I don't know if the other finish it or not.
okay. So when you make the numbers and you take the numbers, remember
Yes.
that it's really important. And let me 10 seconds. Remember, 1 almost never, 2 once a while, frequently, and 4 all the time. Okay, and I give you the results. So when you just assess the 10 questions, you need to add the overall number, the total score. Okay, here
I think the low number is good.
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So here is tricky. Exam stands, you say, oh my God, I have a 10. I need to. No, it's not the idea, the order, but I will explain it. So, so let's start. Let's start by correcting this test. As was it's very simple because we run out of time. I don't want to be very extensive with a lot of questions and so on. So I need to focus on 10 questions, very trivial questions, and try to respond if you see as a person like to tend to procrastinate it or not. So that's the idea. It's self ourselves and see what's your point. Okay. So the questions, as you can see, is not very complicated because it's more or less what we explain later in terms of the first, for instance, put off starting tasks, projects, and activities I don't enjoy doing. So when you comes, you think, Jack, you need to make a start, and even though it's not good, you decided to go on. Okay, here you say to put off, so stop it when you say. So this statement said, well, when the task shows me some difficulties, I stop it. That's the idea. Even when I have a specific deadline, I wait until the last minute. Very common to sometimes people that say, well, when do you study? Well, I wait until the last minute to take action, okay? Because you say, okay, that's the big. Have to make a tough decision. I put it as long as possible. Sometimes we need well, sometimes to some extent we postpone it because it shows you afraid, fear. It shows us making bad decisions, and so it's not good for us. So we decided to procrastinate. Even though I feel bad when I don't get started on an important task, this rarely motivates me to get going. When I feel bad when I don't get started on an important this meeting to get going. The same. Okay, because my mood, whatever it is. I'm regularly late for meetings and appointments. So
should we answer?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the answer. So
Okay.
this is the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9. So the score is like this. Okay. So
yeah, yes, I am 14.
Very good. Congratulations, Albert.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's for sure. That I assume that you are in 10, 15. I don't know. Well. Very well, very well. Very well for the people. Don't be so competitive. So in this case, you have 4 stages here. Remember, this is the third. There are other one. Surprise. So let's start with the worst. The worst that is you are in this range, 33 and 40. Well, I'm not going to prejudge you, but you have very, very ill of procrastination.
Mm.
You are ill in procrastinations. You need to do some you need to change the way you handle the tasks and to handle your accomplishments. You have problems in procrastinations, problems in it. Sometimes students or people in general is because they are very stick to some devices, stick to technology, stick to hooked on the technology as well, emails, smartphones, social media, in message, internet, other tools. And so this is a constant of interruptions. Also, they make it almost impossible to focus on work. Okay, so my suggestions is to put limits.
Mhm.
Boundaries are very, very important in terms when you procrastinate. Draw a line because technology and work. This is my piece of advice. You are not the case. You are not in this gap. So the perhaps you are in these ratios, in these gaps, and you are between 26 and 32, where procrastination is perhaps not as much as the last position, the worst position in terms of procrastinations, and you feel procrastinations. So the procrastinations have very negative impact in your work life and career. Maybe it's not the idea in this try to focus to predict it's over that you feel overwhelmed with the things that you need to carry out. Okay, so my piece of advice in try to is focusing on break it into smaller parts that perhaps it will help you to take more easily. Okay, so that's the idea. What we studied before in terms of the matrix actions matrix, in terms of importance or urgence, or when it comes the the difference of matrix or effort or okay of value that that gets us. So try to. This is my second advice. If you are in the gap of 16 and 25, so indeed you have some of procrastinator, but you are not very, very serious procrastinator. It's maybe perhaps it's a virus. The third one maybe it's an infection. And the fourth one, you are in the hospital. Okay, here is an infection in 2632 with antibiotics. Maybe you can cure, you can heal. However, in 1625, it's a virus. It's a virus, and you need to take cautions in terms of virus. Like if you don't take caution in virus, perhaps it might be worse in future. Maybe it gets an infection or something. So you need to take cautions on it. So take an account, for instance, being more effective and efficient by using the matrix, for instance. This is good piece of advice. Trying to design what is importance, and what is urgent. For instance, it could be good piece of advice, and try to take into account this matrix, for instance. And you are in the gap between 10 and 15, as I said. Congratulations. This is very good for the people that they are between 10 and 15. Very, very good. You are 16, perhaps you are more related to the first gap. Okay, so the point is that we need to divide it in 4 parts, and that's it. But you are more related to the first rather than the second. So keep in mind this assessment. Well, procrastinations, other very normal. You are not a chronic problem. You improve to get it done. You've defined the priority goal. You define schedule specific. You tend to schedule. You need to make an action priority mix. You need to do you need to be very stick to a schedule and prioritize time of work, what is better, what is worse. So fantastic for the first for the people that they are in this cup. So very well. So try to remember in terms of procrastination, procrastinations. Well, the second for the people, perhaps if you are more in the first gap or in the second, well, try to remember the matrix. Perhaps this matrix, when you make this matrix, you realize that you focus a lot in these quick wins, the impact of the 4. Or on the other side, when you focus on this matrix in terms of important and urgency, you focus more important goals more than interruptions. You see yourself that the person that's in the first quadrant is better for you. However, for the second, the people that they are on the other side, people that they are on the second, the third, perhaps on the third and the fourth, well, we need to explain how you deal with these activities. And with these marks, when you feel that you tend to procrastinate. So this is a vaccine. Okay, it's like you are in virus, you have a virus, so you need to get a vaccine. A vaccine involves how to deal with procrastinations. So my piece of advice in terms of procrastination is first record the task, even though it involves time. Sometimes you need I need to write down this idea, or put on my screen, or put on my agenda on Google, if I use Google Time or whatever. So I need to record the task. So deadline is very important, and how long it's been on the list. So this is my vaccine for the people that tend to procrastinate. This is my vaccine. A vaccine involves make this procrastination table, do it as your task. When the deadline, when you say that this task need to be done, and how long on this? Perhaps a list, it has been 10 years, 5 years, 12 years, it's a long time, or maybe 3 months or 2 months, I don't know. So when you start by explaining your task and putting in the deadline, and you realize that you have over deadline, you need to show how long on list. And then my final vaccine is the consequence of not finishing. And you need to be fair about the consequence of not finishing it. What is the consequence? Sometimes perhaps it's not involves you any consequence of it, but think about if you don't do it, what is the consequence? For instance, if I can call to a client, maybe it has a consequence. Consequence for me is what is called the opportunity cost. And this is very important to understand something, that is the opportunity cost. Because even though you not to carry out an activities, every activity that not to finish involves a cost opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is what you lose for doing another activity. So think about it in terms of procrastination table. Perhaps, as I said before, when I decided not to talk to my client, not to call to a client, for instance, in terms of selling, the consequence of not finish is I couldn't receive any reward about it. I didn't receive any income. I didn't get any income, any turnover from my client because I didn't finish my call. Okay. So the same in terms of task, what is the consequence of not finishing? And think about the consequence also. You need to think also about the consequences of the cost opportunity. Because some extent when you decided not to carry out an activities, however, you invest in these activities and not finish it. So sometimes there are a time that you invest on it, however, you didn't finish. It's like when you start studying a subject, a subject for an exam. Imagine, for instance, you are need to start with, but when you start studying, you need to month to prepare the exam, and you at the first fortnight you decided to leave and you decided to abandon it. So in these 2 weeks that you decide to invest your time in preparing the exam, in studying, so it involves an opportunity cost. And what is the opportunity cost? You say it's nothing. No, it's not nothing at all. Sometimes it involves time that this is time for investing in other subjects. Do you see my point? Do you see my view, my perspective? This is an example about integrate, but everywhere, when you decide to start a work, start a project, and you decided to finish for the different circumstances because you feel what I'm going to explain later, this procrastination feeling, this is time. And this is the time involves an opportunity cost. The opportunity cost sometimes, these 2 weeks that you decided to invest in something and then to leave it, is the time that you might get advantages by investing in other projects, and you can success. You might success. You see my point? So keep in mind it, because it's really, really interesting. The second question is like, what is the consequence of not getting the job? Here, this is, I explain it. It's not, perhaps you've been hired. You've been hired, it's different. I want talking for me for self-employed people that you work, as in terms of clients, in terms of not to be in contact, but perhaps a reprimand comes or bad reputations, your career might suffer, or you miss a great opportunity, or your high your stress level. Okay. So that is the consequence of not getting the job. Remember, when you decided not getting the job, you might hurt yourself by telling things. I'm a frustrator, I'm a loser, or something like that. Very negative. You say to yourself very negative ideas, and they can diminish the level of positive energy. Okay. So keep in mind it as well. So apart from that, this is the last, the same. This is the task, and when you finish, the third is look over your task and the consequences. What is the consequences? As I said before, explaining the common elements. You think that they are point in common. Sometimes they are point in common in terms of no consequence of no finishes the task. And sometimes they are very common elements that you can identify well in some activities. Imagine, for instance, there are activities that you need to talk to someone. Sometimes, for instance, in selling, when you want to call to someone because you are afraid of fear, you are afraid of rejection, you are fear of thinking about someone might think like this, or might think in another way, or might think. So, so this is very, 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 you need to take it in consideration. Well, and finally, for the planning to take action, this is the fourth. When you just defining it, you need to identify the consequences. You need to define that you procrastinate or not. So you need to my suggestion, the fourth plan is planning to take action. So you see yourself that the consequences are very negative. You need to rechange the idea. We start to think that, well, what I might do with this task. And you say, I know the consequences, but what's the point? What's the point is now you restart it by adding the tasks like this, 3 high value tasks or projects that you're working on, related exactly to a SMART goal. So it could be the same. supposed to be that these tasks might be related to your smart goals, right? And then put in the 4 positions your deadline. Now we take in account the deadline. You say, oh, but the deadline, you tell me that I put it, yes, it is. But taking account the media, set a reasonable deadline for it. And when doing this, refer back to original deadline. How long it has been on your list? Imagine, for instance, that well, the deadline is 2 months. How long it is? Perhaps 3 months. Perhaps we might add a little bit more to 2 months and an hour. The new task project could be like this. So we are going to retake this project, okay? We realize that the project failed, and then we need to as the phoenix, okay? You are a phoenix. Phoenix, you start to go out, okay? To reborn, to reborn. You start to reborn like the phoenix. And well, this is the task, this is the deadline, keeping in mind the 2 ideas, the deadline and the loan has been. And here is very, very important, but now we change our minds. So the activities column need to be cut in different parts. So break your tasks into small activities. So the activities require involves, well, how do you divide these tasks in different parts, okay? So keep in mind, for instance, if you can cut this activity in different parts. It's very important to in terms of activities, cut it, bite it in different parts in order to can cope with these short activities. But diminish these activities in teeny parts, you feel more superior, you feel very positive, you feel very you can cope with these teeny tasks instead of big tasks. So it's very important. If you say it like, well, I'm going to start an exam, you need an exam in this time. So forget it an exam, forget into this. What I do tonight is only studied a page of this unit, no more than this. I think it involves 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes, no more. So in terms of math, you need to study only 15 minutes, no more, every day. I will start 2 months before the exams. I'm only studying by studying 15 minutes, no more, only 15 minutes. 15 minutes is nothing. 15 minutes is like when you are here talking to someone, or 20 minutes, no more. Everything, or 20 minutes is a piece of cake. Huh? So that's the idea. Try to break it in very small parts. Okay, that's fantastic. And then it's very, very important as well to prioritize these lists. Prioritize. Put these activities into what is first, what is second, and what is third. Perhaps there are a lot of you divided it in different parts. Perhaps you say, well, unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These activities requires. I need to study this topic, the second and the third for common exam. But however, in terms of activities required, perhaps the topic 6 is very, very extremely different. Not difficult, but involves, for instance, more numbers, calculations, and you have not lack of calculations. Perhaps it would be good to put in priorities these activities more difficult than the first. Not very short, but in terms of what is the first, what is the second, the third priorities, because you know that they're really very important on the exam. So for me, it's fantastic. For me, fantastic for students that can take advantage of this this plan, this matrix, this quadrant to put your tasks, put your talent, put your activities required, and divide it in different short parts. Okay, and then decide which you need to study. So it's fantastic. Okay. And finally, so incorporate, this is, I like a lot, a reward system. Reward system. And you say, what it is? A reward system. So reward. Why you don't reward yourself today? You wake up at 7 o'clock, You work by see, you work very hard today. However, no one gives you a reward. Perhaps your boss, I don't know, you have boss or not. Or you are a student and no one, your professor don't say anything. Or you need to motivate yourself. But in every project you work harder. When you decided to prioritize its deadline and you accomplish it with your deadline, you say, I did it. This is my deadline. It's 23rd of November. And this is my task project. I divided the activities required. I did it, the activities required. It's 21st of November as well. And the deadline is 23rd of the deadline. So I accomplished it. I get it. So fantastic. So it is time to reward yourself. And you need to reward yourself about you. Perhaps you might buy things. You can go for a coffee. You can reward of sticking to the social media or game or buy something for yourself. Even it's a little bit expensive for yourself, but you deserve it. You deserve a reward. You deserve something that might motivate you. You deserve. So keep in mind it's because it's very important, the reward system. Here, I tell you something and you say, well, it's funny, contracting a contract. I do solemnly swear on this day of 24 to, and I will do this, I will reward myself with sign, date, or whatever it is. So this is something that you start by doing for yourself, and by doing for yourself, this is a contract. And when you can see the contract, you say, oh my God, I can accomplish, I need to receive my present, okay? So rewarding is very, very important. I have a memory now in time, I think so. It's very funny because in terms of procrastination, I want to tell you an anecdote. When you go, do you buy things? For instance, going shopping. For instance, my recommendations is when you decided to go shopping, the market Corte Inglés, well, here in Alicante is very famous Corte Inglés, but you are overseas, I have no idea, but in Alicante, very famous the Corte Inglés, and you buy it. You buy in, so the shopper put in the bag, and then this is money, so it goes wherever it is, and you go outside. For me, a piece of advice is send you every time that you buy something. So you say, for instance, can you pack me this product for birthday? Can you decorate me as a birthday? That's because it's going to be to to a friend, and I need to be the package. I need to be decorated. Okay. Sometimes the shopper asks, is for a an anniversary or is for some performance or date or whatever. Do you want a package? Is for present or not? Or you have is for this product is for present. Okay, is it for present? They can package better with decoration, with some label, fantastic labels, very typical in Christmas. You say Happy Christmas. Perhaps they stick some decorations with very, very fashionable paper or Nicholas stick, with a Nicholas stick that's very famous in Christmas, Nicholas stick or something like that, or whatever. So then this is a friend of mine tend to do that every time they go to the supermarket, and then they say, no, I need it. This is a present, and this for presents, I need it back. Even though it's for him, they demand it every time they require it. And then you go to home, put it the back, put it the present, and they open for they say, oh, fantastic, it's for me, no? So very, very interesting idea to know that sometimes you need to get present for yourself. This is another way. The task here, task project, it's more, well, this is the task and this is my reward. So you finish, you say, what is your reward? What is your reward? what do you want to do? You're going to go outside, you go to something for you, not for rest. It's for me. I'm going to go to the hamburgers. You like hamburgers? You go to a restaurant. Okay, well, I'm going to go to the hamburgers with chips, good hamburgers with Coke and whatever I will be for myself. Or I like to buy these things. This is a reward. You think, oh my God, if my budget is in the limit, I don't know if I can, I am allowed to buy it because my budgets are very, very limited. I don't have not long a lot of time money for buying. Perhaps I don't know this year. So reward yourself. Is there something for your sport? It's not necessary to be expensive. It's not the idea of being expensive. We are not looking for it. It's something that you use. It's perhaps a pair of shoes or something that very fashion. You like it because it's time to put in your reward. You're working to get better. This is time to diminish the way to procrastination. And finally, for today, let me show you some criteria before finishing the class for today. So this is the last part of the module 3. So the last part of module 3 is recommendations. Some very short recommendations. And what's the paralysis camp? This is the panic, fighting with procrastinations. And my other tips of it, apart from this table for reading matrix or quadrant that you need to carry with spreadsheets, whatever you call it, is my first recommendation for today's is lower your expectations. It's like a kryptonite. Kryptonite is the kryptonite, and the kryptonite is Superman, like the kryptonite. And this has to do with the procrastinator, because it's driven for perfection. It's like kryptonite. Kryptonite is, I wanted to remind you, when Superman goes to a new planet, they find that they are invincible. No one they can die. He can die, and then only with this stone that it was, I think so, were very yellow, a green stone. Okay, they cracked, and you put like you touch the kryptonite, you feel down, you feel like immortal. Not immortal, you are mortal. Okay, so this is striving for perfection. Perfection is the worst. The worst. So you just need to strive to good enough is good. Perfection is not my cup of tea. I'm not perfection. I don't like perfection. Don't like to be perfectionist. Perfection is not in my diary. Okay, think about, because if you are perfectionist, you look for perfectionists. Procrastinations and perfectionists are synonyms. So every time you perform something in terms of perfection, so presentation at class, for instance, when you say, oh, I see in my students, I don't know if one of my students of tourism, I see on my students when I say, you need to register on the paper for make to your next performance, performance in English, and to show that you solve a case and make this presentation. So I need to remind them. So this is my register paper, and no one, but in 100%, only 30% are registered. However, the 70% is not registered at all. I think so. They procrastinate themselves. They are fear of going out of before classes with the mate. I know that it is just said and done, but you suffer it. But what you have to be is not to be perfection. It's not about to handle 100% of the things. You try to do the best, and this is the most important. Keep your tasks small is another way to, as we saw before, way to try to the task, try to digest it better. Is that to digest it better? It makes me feel more comfortable to when you decided to beat it in small portions, bit-sized tasks. So it's better. Okay, it's easier. And dealing with fear. This is another very, very important fear. Fear, okay? Fear is an emotion. Fear is an emotion. It's only an emotion. Okay? And sometimes fear seems to, whatever, there are something that you live when you are a kid, and this shows you fear. They said that when you start thinking about things, as I said before, mind is different of you, it's not you. However, if you decided to think in bad things, probably what the mind does is to give you more negative things. The mind thinks like a computer and think, you thinking bad things, I'm going to give you more bad things to think about it. It's insane. It's unbelievable. But it's not our mind thinks. Our mind mistakenly thinks that if I show you more bad things, more bad situations, more bad events, I can help you. I might help you because you say, you are thinking about things. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give you more bad things that might be they can help you. And I'm going to help you. You say, oh my God, I prefer not to tell me to give me more bad thoughts, bad thoughts, but because I'm full of, I can cope with bad thoughts. Okay. Then you think about a lot of bad thoughts. Perhaps you get an anxiety and then you get on depression. So keep in mind it in terms how you think and the ways your thoughts are. Okay. So fear is this, so dealing with fear. And the procrastinator quote is like this: I must be perfect. I must be perfect. Need to be perfect. Perfection is my life. I need to be perfect. Forget it about it. Forget it about I must be perfect. Forget it about everything I do without effort. When people say everything I do should go easily and without effort, forget it. You are procrastinating. It's safer to do nothing than to take a risk. The reason fail, you say it's safer to do nothing. Procrastinator. You are procrastinator. As you have no limitations, when you say can cope. No, you have limitation. It's not done right. I must avoid being challenged. If I success somewhere with her heart, if I do well this time, I must always do well. Must always do that. Sometimes while you do well, sometimes other not done well, you need to get from the feedback. I'm giving and not following someone's rules means I'm giving in order not in control. Well, when you someone's rules means I'm not in control. I can't like this idea. I can afford to let go. There is a right answer, and I will until I find it. I've exposed my real self. People won't like me. I will not put in my best work, so I do poorly. So this is one of the procrastinator core. So keep in mind its ideas you feel is you realize that this is very similar. And finally, for today, let me explain the last issues that there are characteristics when you feel irrational beliefs. Okay, the procrastinators are very hardworking, high achieving and competent. They don't expect that a procrastinator is a lazy person. It's a hardworking. It's a high achieving. It's a very, very competent. It's not a lazy man, lazy woman. No, not at all. It's fearful of being judged. You feel fearful of being judged, keep in mind it. And falling short expectation. This comes from your mom, for your papa when you were kids. And sometimes when you were kids, sometimes your mom said, you need to do that, you need to be like that, you need to be like the people. You need to act to satisfy, to meet the needs of the people. Perhaps you copy this irrational belief and then you act like this by believing that this is real. When you are feelings of guilty, inferiority or superiority, when you want to critical, being critical of the people, okay, critical of self and others, and you need to criticize people. We are very critical of other people. You are focused on the future more than present. Seeks a lot of advice from others. You tend to look for advice from others in order not to fail. In order not to fail. And you are very fearful of intimacy relationships. Okay. So keep in mind these characteristics because it leads us to rational beliefs as I must always do well. My worth as a person is determined my ability and achievements, or I must be in control of everything, or I must maintain and reach unrealistic goals and expectations. That's for finish. So you have to, my piece of advice, learn to accept to yourself because failure is in humankind. It's you need to, failure is something that is in your vein. Same thing, failure is in your genes and it is inside us. And it's very important to fail because when you fail, you learn. So you need to learn that failure is not bad. Failure is good. But the more you fail, the more you learn. And this is in your vein. And this is something that humans have. They need to fail to learn. So it's not bad failure. It's something that is seen when you start learning. And as I said before, stick to a schedule is best way to go to calendar, journal, Google, different platforms, Signal, computer, very perfect to stick to your schedule in different way. So for today, for me is enough to finish this fantastic class of procrastinations. I expect you learn a lot of things about procrastination, also about matrix priority in terms of importance, in terms of effort. And so impact and effort, and they also matrix that we saw on the second days, importance and urgency. So both of them are really important. I don't know if you wanted to ask any questions about stick to a school. My recommendation is to do the exercise 1 for today. This is the exercise quick wins and procrastinations. You have the material on the 23rd day. Well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to start by leaving to starting to. This is a question we have here. Questions about the chat. Thank you. Okay. So Tamer, do you want to say something about to the people that attend today, or
No, just the exercises of today is already on the website. The video, the record will be 1 hour from now, will be also on the website. I think all the people here know the password, so it's time to, and good luck.
good luck? Well, thank you very much, Tamer. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Remember, we will see the last sessions. Last class will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So if you have questions, bye-bye. Thank you very much.